So I'm sure you've probably heard of it was one of the schools of philosophy that was, I guess, a big opponent against Stoicism, Epicureanism.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It was like obviously they have some interesting ideas as well, but like I guess they tend to be a bit more hedonistic in their approach.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of priority. I was actually talking with my good friend Josh Bertolotti in Search of Wisdom podcast, but on this, it's just a matter of priorities, right? Because the biggest difference between Stoicism and Epicureanism is Stoics want to engage in society.
Yeah,
There's a very important element of being pro-social. Not that you can't be in the woods by yourself and be a Stoic, but generally speaking, there's this requirement to engage socially into society in your environment in whatever way suits you as an individual. The Epicureans were more, let's go to a cabin in the woods and bring some good friends and really enjoy the drinks and really enjoy the friends and really enjoy the scenery and kind of like the culture of today in many ways in the
yeah,
West. There's a lot of Epicureans in the West, and I actually think there's a place for that. I do because if you get up in the morning and you really like coffee, I don't think it's beneficial to just not enjoy it. If you really enjoy it, you can enjoy it and focus on enjoying it. That's kind of like engaging in that pleasure. But I do think the Stoics were right in that we do have a moral obligation to make the world a better place, as I would call it.
yeah. No, that's for sure. It's like the difference between pleasure and discipline, I guess. Like
Hmm.
or like basically
Yeah.
when to draw the lines. Like you don't want to like too like overindulge in something.
Right. Right. And I think the Epicureans were a bit good on that too, that they didn't want to overindulge per se, but they did say pleasure is the only good, whereas Stoics would say no, virtue is the only good, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, just a difference of priority, I would say.
yeah, that's for sure. I guess in a way it'd be like your own pleasure, like compared to I guess the pleasure of helping people or the pleasure of virtue even. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and what's interesting about that is that you can actually do things. You can train yourself to do things for the world that you actually get joy from. Here's an interesting thing. When you're young, or I guess I can only really speak from my own experience, but when I was young, sometimes I would actually feel bad about doing good. I know that's weird, but it's almost like if I don't know, like when I was a teenager, if I said something maybe nice to my mother, it's almost like a little angry about that, right?
Oh,
Like almost a little angry and embarrassed about that. And then, so you can actually train yourself to feel bad about doing good. And this exists in human nature. If you really watch yourself, you'll see that. So you can train yourself to do that, or you can train yourself to feel good when you do good. And that's what virtue is. It's not just doing good, it's doing good and deriving pleasure from it. This is kind of where the Epicureans come in because again, the Stoics say that if you become virtuous, you basically have more pleasure. So there is a connection here, right? Um,
yeah,
but the bottom line is that you can train yourself absolutely to feel bad about doing bad, to feel good about doing bad, feel bad about doing good, or to feel good about doing good. Those are your options. And the more you
yeah.
practice that over time, the less toxic you are, you will tend to get towards that virtue element, which is doing good and feeling good about it. And that's the way to be. That would be a great way to be. Imagine that, right?
Yeah. No, that's for sure. I know what you mean because it's like let's just say for example, right? Like maybe you donate some money to charity, like or you give some money to a homeless man, right? Or like you buy him some food. You will feel like it'll be that feeling that you have that yeah, like a form of pleasure in a way that you
Right.
feeling good about helping someone.
Right. Or you can feel bad about that because you can also say, okay, just take the money, and then you can leave
Yeah,
thinking, oh well, he's just going to buy drugs with it anyway, and then get mad about that.
yeah.
So you can absolutely feel good about that or bad about that, and that really gets down to practice and perspective, how you think about it.
No, it's 100% true. Yeah, I mean you can look down upon the less fortunate for sure. That is 100% true.
Yeah, we all do, I think. That's
Yeah.
something we need to guard against.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, we do need to obviously like try our best not to look down on someone who's less fortunate than us, right?
Yeah.
Because someone above us can do the same thing, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, certainly I found to become less judgmental with life as with understanding and compassion and self wisdom. You know, as one of the
Yeah,
things that you learn about other people when you learn about yourself. I mean that's really what you do when you learn who you are and your own insufficiencies. You tend to have more compassion for other people, and so you become less judgmental. And so that's something to strive for. To really, if you're judging people and feeling shame towards them, it's probably because you have some self awareness issues. You're not so aware of you and in tune with your own insufficiencies. Because if you were, you'd probably recognize that, man, people are just so complicated and struggling. And God, I mean, life is hard. Life is really tough, and we all
yeah,
start at different levels, and we all have different hands that are given to us. So unless you've walked someone's whole life in their shoes, you really can't say that you would do anything better. You really
yeah.
can't.
It's true. It's true.